Hey everyone! Before I continue with today's video, I just wanted to take an opportunity and sponsor myself, I guess, and just thank everyone that has actively supported myself and the channel. If you would also like to support the internet's busiest independent Polaroid technician, then you can feel free to do so via the following ways. Number one is send me a camera to be repaired, like the two here, in any of my repair seasons. To figure out when I'm open and taking orders, just follow me across social media like Facebook and Instagram. I generally post when I'm doing repairs on those platforms. Second option that you have is simply to donate some spare parts. If you've got a busted up camera that you don't think can be salvaged, I'm always in the need for spares to help me save other clients' cameras, so donations are always much appreciated. You may leave a financial donation through the links to my Ko-fi accounts down below, either recurring or just a one-off. I don't mind either way. Or lastly, and the easiest, cheapest option, simply like, subscribe, and share the video if you find the information within it either interesting or educational. If you see someone in a forum like Reddit or Facebook or something like that, if you see someone having an issue with a camera and maybe one of my videos has answered it, please feel free to link it because it goes a long way to helping the channel. That's really all I wanted to say. I don't earn a lot of money from this YouTube channel itself. I would be lucky if at the end of a month I had enough income from ad revenue to take my wife and I out to a nice meal. All of my income comes from doing repairs for clients and building them what I think is some of the most amazing cameras in the world. And of course, I couldn't do that without all of my followers and all the support that you guys give me. So I wanted to say thank you, and thank you in advance. Hopefully that's not too much to ask. Let's get on with it, shall we? Hello everyone, the Instant Camera Guy here. In today's video, I wanted to dive a little deeper into a subject that I mentioned in my last video, which was basically a video I did all about the differences and similarities in between the various different folding SLR cameras that Polaroid made back in the day. If you haven't watched that video already, I suggest that you do so. It is a long video, but it is densely packed with information running through what the different pros and cons are of each model. But one of the take-home messages that I did in it is I said that in terms of optical quality, especially for ambient exposures, each camera is going to produce effectively the same quality of photo, and that is because each of these cameras has the same lens design. It's got the same 4-element 116mm f8 lens, and thus optical quality, once these things are all converted, refurbished, and modified to take 600 film, they will all produce the same type of photo. One of the sort of oldest debates on the internet is whether or not the SLR680 series are superior to the SX-70s. I spent a lot of time in that last video debunking that, but one of the things that I did say about the SLR680 is that it does have a very neat party trick in that the flash, do I have batteries in here? Yes, I do. The flash assembly tilts, right? So if can you see that? So basically, the closer you focus, the more that lens tilts forwards. And the reason for that is the flash, because it's positioned right at the top of the camera, is quite far away from the lens. And the SX-70 is capable of focusing very, very close. So the SLR680 being a variant of the SX-70, they can all focus to the same 10-inch distance. Very, very close. And what that means is when you have a large distance between your flash and between the lens, you start to get something called parallax. And effectively, parallax is just the difference between the light coming from the flash and then the light being received by the lens. Parallax occurs in lots of different photography situations, such as rangefinders versus SLRs, but in this particular instance, I'm talking about flash parallax. So we can see here this SLR680 and my little subject here, just pretend that's 10 inches. The lens is very much in a different alignment with the flash, and that means that flash, as that flash goes off, a majority of the light is going to be missing the subject, so it's only going to be half illuminated. Well, if we tilt that flash, Well, now the flash points down at the subject and it's going to much more evenly illuminate this. On a standard camera, such as an Alpha, Model 1, Model 2, it's not really much of an issue because the flash sits a lot closer to the lens. You don't have this sonar assembly sitting in the way, so the lens and the flash are actually pretty close in terms of their distance. And what that means is, on a standard Alpha SX-70, this parallax issue with the flash was never really an issue. And honestly, if you've got one of these cameras and you use it with the Mint Flash, you've probably never noticed. However, the Sonar series of cameras, it's a different story. As we can see, the flash sits even higher than it does on the SLR680. And with no ability to tilt, well, if I go back to my little example here, there's quite the gap between the flash and the subject. So what exactly are we supposed to do if we want the most even illumination? Well, the first thing that I'll point out is this really only occurs for macro photos, photos taken at that 10-inch distance. The truth of the matter is, at least in my opinion, I just don't think macro photos look very good taken with flash. The reason is the inverse square law means that the subject and the background will be very differently exposed, just because of how light works. If you want more information, look up what the inverse square law is. But what you typically end up with, if you take photos of a subject very, very close up, using a flash, you end up with the subject nicely illuminated, but the background very rapidly fades to black. Personally, unless that's a style that you're going for, I often think that doesn't look very good. I much prefer to take close-up photos, of close-up subjects like flowers and that kind of stuff. I much prefer to do that using ambient exposures, right? So to give you an example here is a Furby taken on automatic mode, and here are some nasturtiums. Again, these are lit ambiently, and I think overall the images look pretty good. Background is decently illuminated here. In the case of the nasturtiums, they're really too overgrown to see a background. But again, if I give like another example of some flowers very, very close up, if these were taken with flash, for example, the yellow tips of the flowers would be visible, but the rest of the foliage here, the green, would very likely present as black. And again, if that's a style that you're trying to capture, if you're intentionally trying to separate the flowers into a void of pitch black darkness, well, that's fine, go ahead. But I just don't think that close-up flash photos look particularly good. But what if you want to take them anyway, I hear you say? Well, what does this issue look like? Well, I've gone ahead and taken some sample photos. And I'm just gonna like randomly place them. And at home, I want you to just sort of perhaps guess and tell me which is which. I'll take off this light so you guys can get a better idea of what's going on. Feel free to have a guess, because there's a mixture of SLR680, standard SX-70, and SX-70 sonar, as well as SX-70 sonar plus a little trick that I'm going to show you guys. Well, I might as well start labeling them. So first up, this one that's quite bright is an SLR680. Now, this is the only photo here that was shot on a different batch of film to all the other Furbies that you see here. And it is entirely possible that this film is behaving a little faster, or the color temperature is a bit different on this particular batch. Or it could just be that my personal 680 that I shot this with needs its flash detuned a teeny little bit, but this is certainly the brightest Furby of the bunch. Here, what do we think that this one is, guys? All right. Well, this one was shot on the SX-70 Alpha. So one of these. as you can see, very evenly illuminated, right? Despite the flash sitting above the lens and not being able to tilt, the Furby is very evenly lit. This one is a different 680. This one I think is much better exposed. Again, very evenly illuminated, but kind of on par. I mean, the flash temperature is a little bit different from the Mint Flash bar to the SLR680, but it's very similar. Now, any guesses as to what this one is? Well, you can probably guess along at home, but you see the ombre effect? The top of the Furby is fairly brightly lit, but the bottom of the Furby is not so much. That was taken with the Sonar, again, at the closest possible distance. So, unless you start focusing very close, the SX-70 Sonar with a Mint Flash bar is going to work pretty much fine, but this is a real thing that does happen. Again, how many times do you really take a photo at a macro distance with the flash on? I guess that's going to vary from style to style. I always think the ambient exposures look much better. If we're going to be honest, like here's another ambient lit one. I think it just looks a lot better ambient. Again, another 680 flash, this one, so you can see the difference. Right, so this one here in my hand, that was a 680. But you can help things out, right? And you can help things using not a lot of money. So this photo here was also taken with a Sonar, but look how much better illuminated the Furby is. It is nearly on par with this other one in my hand. I was able to achieve that extra illumination using just this piece of white cardboard. This white cardboard I took from the inside of a pack of Polaroid I-type film, so it truly did cost me nothing. And all that I did was get a little piece of blue tack here from my collection. I just stuck it to the piece of white cardboard, and that is genuinely all I did. I just attached it at a 90-degree angle. Okay? Now what that means is when the flash goes off, any flash that is directed upwards is going to bounce off the card and back to the subject. Effectively, I created like a little softbox to more evenly illuminate the subject. Now, the truth is I probably could have angled the card down a little bit more. I just experimented with 90 degrees. Angling it down probably would have helped even more. But you can see what's going on. Like the flash is simply bouncing off the card, illuminating the subject more easily. Now, is it a bit of extra faff to do this? Well, of course it is. But if you want a bit of extra illumination on your macro photos using an SX-70 Sonar with a Mint Flash, this is the cheapest and easiest way of doing it. And that's really all I wanted to cover. If anyone is watching and has a 3D printer or, you know, some other form of machine tools, we must remember that the Mint Flash bar has a little magnetic attachment, or you could sort of design something that slides on top of the flash and provides that little bounce or diffusion. I think that, yeah, anyone that wants to take on that project, please feel free, because it seems to me like a very easy way to get a bit more bang for buck out of this flash. Well, really, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. I hope you found it illuminating. And I will see you guys in the next one. But yeah, at the end of the day, the whole argument between the SLR680 flash versus standard SX-70 flash is mainly true. The 680's tilting flash definitely helps. However, it only really helps in situations where the flash is going to be at a macro distance. Certainly, if you have a standard camera like a Model 1, Model 2, or an Alpha, this is really a non-issue at all. And it's only really going to affect you if you have an SX-70 Sonar. Now, an SX-70 Sonar does have its own dedicated flash that was made in the 1970s called the Polaroid. If you guys thought this video was interesting, let me know, and maybe you can convince me to do a few comparisons using a 1970s Polaroid flash with diffuser versus the SLR680. But the only reason I didn't do that in this video is, well, the Polaroid is much bigger than a Mint flash bar. It is huge in comparison to this little thing, which isn't all that much bigger than the stock 680. So what do you think? Leave your comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.